2.
Oh, ISIS.
Blame the Pentagon.
You do
They
what?
blame the Pentagon for
Oh,
no
okay,
plan.
yeah, I got comments to make about that too. And, we're on the air, but hey, I'll just wait, we're not finished chatting about what we're gonna do next. We're planning the next hour or night.
And we weren't planning supper either.
No. All right, we're back, Freedom Forum 2 on.
Up,
Up, keep going, up.
right
Now
there.
back off a little bit.
There you go.
Okay, up. See, he can't see what we can see here, so.
Yeah, I know.
There's that thing at the bottom that messes.
All right,
up.
you
Okay.
got it.
All right, they got the message. Okay, first, the prayer. Heavenly Father, give us the strength, the wisdom, and the courage, as well as mucho patience
Cool.
to do your will in all things. And we ask that you would confuse or convert our enemies. In Jesus the Christ's name we pray. Amen. We've still got to hit the Freedom Act too, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Now it's low again.
It's low again. The sound is low again. But that's LUS.
That's our field reporter.
You're on. Wait, you're on.
No, that's
you're
on Cox.
You're on Cox. That's right.
But we can turn it up, she said. In
Yeah.
other words,
Well,
she can turn the
That's
volume
because
up.
some of these folks have to crank it all the way up to barely hear it.
Yeah.
So anyway, Canadian Patriots meeting is tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, Mike Kramer meet and greet, basically for he's running for the candidate for District 7, running against Holly Bophy. Come and meet Mike, listen to his experience, 32 years in education, and Chargois running for sheriff. He'll be there to speak for a little bit tomorrow. Plus updates on the legislation, which is shut down tomorrow, but they're not done.
No.
Because guess what? They didn't get the budget done. And people, you gotta attend the meeting. The thing that I'm really going to push over the next month or two is the fact that you need to vet the candidates and find out where the money's coming from. That is the key. Who is funding these candidates for office? This is a real important year. Everything's up for grabs in the legislation. Governor, Bessie board, we got to flip the Bessie board. We have got to get the good people in control of the Bessie board, and then we can clean up Bessie and Common Core and a whole bunch of stuff. Like send John White back to New York. That would be a real good thing. Mm-hmm. And, and by the way, he tried the Solinsky thing on me at the last education meeting. Asked me how things were going and how have you been. The man don't like me. But anyway, just be there. Get involved. Come and learn. I mean, you really need to learn to make a good decision. That's what we do.
And then Ray Green's Constitutional Study Group is Saturday at Thomas Park at 10 o'clock. And he's going to have Dee Stanley there, who's going to be running for parish president. And the following Thursday will be the Freedom Forum public meeting. Not you guys. A week from tomorrow.
I'm not doing 2 weeks in a row.
No. And that'll do it for now. Let's see.
And just think about the people in Northwest Louisiana.
Yeah. Pray for them.
Pray for those people up there. I mean, I made a lot of new friends this year from that area up there. I call them almost every day, see how things are going or if they need anything. Okay,
let's go ahead and get the video going. What's this next one about?
He blamed.
Oh, yeah. Obama blamed the Pentagon for the trouble in Iraq.
ISIS.
Or blamed ISIS.
No plan for ISIS.
No plan for ISIS. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got that.
I don't rule out anything because we do have a stake in making sure that these jihadists are not getting a permanent foothold in either Iraq or Syria, for that matter.
Even as we carry out these two missions, we will continue to pursue a broader strategy that empowers Iraqis to confront this crisis. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. We don't have a strategy yet. Our objective is clear. We will degrade and ultimately destroy ISIL through a comprehensive and sustained counterterrorism strategy. We don't yet have a complete strategy because it requires commitments on the part of the Iraqis as well.
Well, a little evolution of the president talking about ISIS and the strategy or lack thereof of ISIS in Iraq, ISIS in Syria. Today saying, as you just heard there, not a complete strategy yet. Waiting for the Pentagon, he said, to send him finalized plans which sparked a reaction, not on camera, but anonymously. A military official telling our Fox producer at the Pentagon after that statement today, what blank was that? We have given him lots of options. He just hasn't acted on them. This, as a new poll comes out that says that the American public doesn't truly believe that the Obama administration has a clear strategy either. Take a look at those numbers. 71% no, 19% yes. We'll start there. Let's bring in our panel.
Okay, caller, call back.
Whoever call back. We wanted the video to finish.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, your volume on the second the volume on the second half of your show is better than it was.
This is weird. This is weird. Okay.
It's a lot better on the second half of your show than it was on the first half. I don't know what's going on, but somebody's messing with it. I bet you at LUS.
Yeah, it could be. I want to check on how just that all works. So, okay, thanks.
I just want to let y'all know that.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye.
Jesus.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, volume in St. Martinville is 95% volume that I have to press up to get to you guys. But can you tell me the difference between ISIL and ISIS and who changed the name besides the guy running the show?
Well,
And one other quick question for you. Everybody said when the Republicans are going to get in, they're going to change. Republicans, Democrats, they're all the freaking same, guys.
Now, Tom and I said in October nothing was going to change in November.
yeah.
You go on the Common Core. I understand what you're going for and everything. As long as we have the same people that are feeding at the same trough, they're never going to change.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's what we were talking about before. This is a big year. This is a year, and see, people wonder why things don't change because they do keep doing the stupidity of electing the same people over and over. And this year is an election year for the Bessie Board, the governor, and the legislation.
Legislature.
Legislature.
Okay, wasn't Bobby the Great White Hope, though?
Well,
And when I say the Great White Hope, I mean no. Well, I may mean offense. I don't care. But wasn't he the Great Hope to save us?
yeah.
Yeah,
And
that didn't go too well.
And he folded as soon as the election. He won't go on any radio station, talk to anybody. And now he's finishing his second term, and he wants to be president.
Yeah.
That'll never
I
happen.
think what he is doing here is jockeying for a cabinet seat.
No, he's going to either be head of the Republic RNC. Watch, he'll be the head of the RNC, or as a cabinet seat. I'll back that up. I'm sorry, Tom, but he'll get a post of ambassador or
Health and wealth. I mean,
yeah, health and wealth, probably so. But we need people like you guys to get in office. We're never going to change anything, and everything's happening exponentially. It's happening so fast we can't control it.
exactly.
Well, as I've said before, folks like us can't get elected. George Washington could not be elected dog catcher in Mamou, Louisiana to this day. He couldn't make it. They would not elect him. For one thing, the powers that be would make sure the election was rigged
Exactly.
if they couldn't.
They are all the time now.
Yeah, sure they are. That's why I said in the first hour, everybody that thinks that their vote has any meaning whatsoever, just turn the channel because you're a lost cause. Okay?
Okay. What do you think about, have you watched the Texas series on History Channel or not?
Which one?
It's Texas on the History Channel.
Yeah.
Texas is
Discovery,
Rising or whatever.
Texas Rising, yeah.
Yeah, have you watched that or not?
A
Yeah, I've
little
been
bit.
watching it. Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, they had a great comment in there when the guy who was running the Mexican army.
Santana.
Okay, when Santana looked at one of the Americans and said, "You're an legal immigrant on my country." Now,
Yeah.
do you think they said that back when Texas and Mexico were
doubt
doing
it.
the fighting?
No.
I think it was just worded great. I think that's a great propaganda piece. Haven't figured out which way they're going, but enjoy the show and thank you guys.
Yeah, but today you're undocumented. You're not illegal.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
hell, I guess they took my driver's license away. I better check then. Hey, one other thing. They said something about the TSA employees didn't have background check.
Right.
My company cannot hire anybody without doing a background check on a Social Security number, but yet they're saying the people they hired for the TSA didn't have to give them a Social Security number.
Wait a minute. It's worse than that.
It can't be.
The Secret Service has a bunch of people that haven't had background checks yet.
Well, Tom, when are you going to let them get to you?
There's an idea.
Hey, yeah. Okay, guys, enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Okay.
Where were we? There's so much.
The ISIS strategy and ISIS
and
versus
ISIL.
ISIL.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it right here. ISIS meant Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. And then they changed their name. They did it. They changed their name twice. They changed it to ISIL, which is Islamic State in the Levant. Levant is apparently some generic term for that part of the world. It includes Iraq, Syria, and some other countries, not just those two. And now they're just calling themselves the Islamic State, ICE, or IS, or IS. However, but see, that's harder to figure out. So the media has been calling them ISIL or ISIS, and it's just a matter of semantics and what they call themselves. Now, back to the ISIS strategy that has been all over the news. See, this last clip that you just saw of Obama, they didn't show enough of it. I saw the whole clip, or the whole answer to the question. The question, this was at the press conference at the G7. They changed it to G7 because they uninvited Russia.
Yeah.
And so it was only 7 countries. Well, at the G7 summit this past weekend, Obama was asked at a press conference what his ISIS strategy was. What his strategy was for defeating ISIS. You saw part of the answer. The rest of the answer is about 3 times that long. It's not that lengthy, but it's very disjointed, and it's as if he didn't know what the strategy was, and he was trying to figure out. Oh, he doesn't?
He doesn't know what it is.
Maybe that's why. No, it was obvious. He does not know what to do about ISIS, about defeating ISIS, if he even wants to. That's the key. Does he want to? No, he does not want to.
Ask the pilots.
Well,
we talked about
that. Yeah, what they're doing with the pilots flying missions against ISIS in Syria and
why
Iraq,
they're up there.
Yeah, is they're flying along on patrol looking for bad guys. They find some bad guys. They don't have rules of engagement. They're told to call in and we will get you permission. You tell us what you see, where you are, where it is, and then we will give you permission or not to destroy the target. So they call back 30 20, 30 minutes later, after the plane's been orbiting in the area outside of where these guys can see them, I hope. But in the meantime, these guys aren't just standing still.
No.
And by the time they get word back whether or not they can attack, they're low on fuel. They low on fuel and have to go back to base.
Yep.
And so it's a real bizarre thing that's happening there. It's plain that what is occurring is they do not want to do anything about ISIS, period.
I don't think it's a they. It's
Well, no, it's not Obama. He's not controlling this.
Ooh.
He's not in charge of this. He doesn't know what he's doing,
Larry Jarrett.
but he's not in charge of this. Or they would, if somebody was that knew what they were doing was in charge of it, he would have had an answer, for one thing. Even if it was something which it should have been that, well, I can't tell you what our strategy is because then it'll tell the other side. Okay,
But
well.
that isn't even it.
Do what?
In my eyes, that's not it.
Well, I don't think so either. That's not why he was hemming and hawing. He'd had an answer. If they had something for him to go on, he would have had an answer. So the ineptitude, the stupidity, etc., goes all the way around him, not just him. Now, the other aspect to this is what some retired generals have said about this, including one that was working for him as head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, said that this was bogus. This was totally ludicrous what was going on over there in a congressional hearing today. And he was not very pleased with Obama on this thing. If you're gonna have a military mission, then have a military mission, but don't just pussyfoot around like they're doing, for one thing. Get them out of there or attack, one way or the other. And of course, they're sending 450 more American troops to train the Iraqis.
They're already there.
Okay, they've sent 450 additional ones to train the Iraqis, who are already trained. This is a leadership problem. And the leadership problem goes all the way to the top of who's in charge in Baghdad.
I saw that report. They have a training facility that's a little further north of where the 450 are. They haven't done any training there for 2 to 3 weeks because they can't get any volunteers. I saw the report just before I came here.
Oh, well.
They were talking about the 450, and they have to protect because they're right on the edge of where ISIS is.
Yeah.
But they had another training facility north of there, I forget what it was called. There's no training going on there for 2 or 3 weeks because they don't have any volunteers. And the other thing is they train these guys and they go to fight and they leave. They were saying they have a list of all these people, let's say 7,000, okay, of all these people on there, but there's names on there and the people deserted.
Well, part of the problem, and this was mentioned today also, that the Shiite Prime Minister of Iraq will not bring any Sunnis into the military in this fight. And the Sunnis are the ones that are fighting ISIS. The Shiites are Iran, and it's a bizarre situation, completely bizarre. So don't expect anything good to happen. Now, ISIS has said they're going to conquer Baghdad coming up, and expect it, folks. Expect them to take Baghdad.
I mean,
You have.
the other thing is that people, Tom.
One comment talking about what the strategy is for fighting ISIS. Well, basically they don't want, they want ISIS to oust Assad so the United States doesn't have to go in and do it. That's what they're promoting, ISIS to fight Assad.
Yeah. Well, that's why they set it up to begin with.
Right.
That's why ISIS was set up by the CIA and the Mossad, and who else was involved in that? Saudi Arabia, I think, was involved in that.
And Benghazi,
And
running the guns.
And yeah, this whole thing is such a Mongolian goat ravish that.
What did we say some time back? If we knew everything.
Yeah. So anyway, that whole area is going to fall apart, and you've got an additional problem there, in that I don't know when this was revealed, but I heard it for the first time today, about all of the countries in the Middle East that are now trying to get nuclear weapons. And it's not just Saudi Arabia and a few others anymore. It's now Jordan, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and 2 or 3 others over there besides the Saudis. And they are going to China and Russia for the technology. They're trying to buy it from them. Now understand that the Iranian bomb, the Iranian work that's being done was being assisted by the Pakistanis and the North Koreans. In fact, there were some North Koreans, I think, killed in one of the Israeli strikes several years ago against the Iranian facilities. So this thing is getting very bizarre. This is one reason why at the next Freedom Forum meeting a week from tomorrow, we're going to talk more about nuke war and various aspects about nuclear war, defense, etc., that need to be refresher trained to folks. Need to have some refresher training on that. Okay. Yeah, shoot with that.
This is an education reformer's playbook. I need to get some of these printed up. This is their playbook. Number 1, embed the message that education is failing. They accomplished that.
Yep.
Even though the statistics that Tom and I have presented to you don't bear that out. Number 2, starve schools of funding. Gee, we had a 13 or $21 million shortfall, and this is the reason why. Tax caps and credits, gap elimination, and vouchers.
Now, let's pause for a minute here. You've also got to include in there the
Charter schools.
charter schools.
That's on here.
But also understand that, well, that's starving the schools of funding, though, because the charter schools are getting paid out of the money that would have gone to the regular schools.
Exactly.
But see, also understand that all of these schools have another fund. They have another set of books, I should say. The Consolidated Annual Financial Report, which they call it something else now, I think. But the bottom line is they have investments to the tune of millions of dollars. Each agency of every government has investments. And I got exposed to this thing directly at a school board meeting one time where they gave a financial statement from an investment broker. And he told them how much money they had made on their investment that he was handling since the last time he reported, and it was a cool $1 million. Okay? That's the profit they made off of it, off this one. Now, yeah, the investments have been hit by these recessions or whatever you call them, things that the stock market does, etc. Which, by the way, that's going to happen again between now and October. It's going to happen in a big way, bigger than the last one 7 years ago to the month of October/September, and bigger than the one before that one, which was September of '01, immediately upon the end of the event, September 11th, '01. So they've got money squirreled away. Okay, there is no lack of funding for the schools. Understand that.
Our schools.
To begin with. No, all of them. The entire government could shut down all taxation, anything coming in revenue-wise. They could still issue licenses, etc., without getting paid for it. The estimates are that they could probably now go for 3 years without taxes or any kind of money coming in with the money they've got in their accounts.
It's like the airport, huh?
Yeah, the same thing. And they just found some more money at the state level.
Yep.
That they claim that they didn't know where it came from.
Well, and the school district here had a bond since 2012 for $30 million. Guess what? Now they're building a new school. They're fixing up the other schools.
Yeah,
and
the other one.
Where was this money?
That's the kind of stuff.
Okay, now the third thing is create tests that verify the failure. Let's see.
The failure from part one.
Failure from part
And of course,
one.
if nobody knows what the test scores,
So
how the
what was the
tests are
test
being
we had?
scored.
Park?
Yeah.
And what's the math? Eureka!
Mm-hmm.
They really named that well. Eureka math. Use the data to fire teachers and deny tenure. And ask teachers, they know this is going on. Deprofessionalize teaching.
Well, that's what the charter schools are doing.
And exactly, and they're not hiring certified teachers. And like we were talking before, the school board here shot down another charter school, and guess what? They're going to go to Bessie and get approved.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, one other thing, mentioning schools there, didn't Youngsville, aren't they floating $67 million to build a high school on 60 acres of land they own for 1,800 students?
That's what the school no, it's not 67 million, I don't think.
Yeah, it's 67 million, not 6.7, 67.
Okay, I don't know. I didn't see the numbers on that. I know that is where the high school is going to be built.
It's 67 million on 60 acres of land, and that doesn't include gym. It has a gym, but not a football field.
Yeah, right. They're going to have to share that.
Huh.
Yeah, 67 million, wasn't 6.7. So those numbers don't add up again.
No, they don't.
Somebody's pocket is getting filled well.
And they own the land already, so just wanted to
That
bring
is
that up.
interesting,
Again,
yeah.
guys. Sorry
I didn't
about
realize it was 67 million.
that. 67 million, I
But
heard
the key
4 or
point
5
is,
times.
at this point in time, it's not a charter school. It is a public school.
Correct.
That is a key. Where the money came from all of a sudden, who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, look, 67 million ought to be able to put you a university there.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks again, guys. And won't bug you again. Have a good one.
All right, no, you're fine. Have a good one.
What we got? Okay.
Okay, take over and close down failing schools. You know, one of the things they talk about, and it's the big deal in Louisiana now, is how well our RSD schools are doing in New Orleans.
Those are the charter schools in the world.
They're all charter schools. These are to be models for the rest of the country.
Rest of the state, anyway.
Well, no,
For the country now?
Oh, yeah, Georgia, all these places now, they're saying they should use them. Just ask Nancy Landry. Everything's good down there. We had a discussion on that.
What's she smoking?
I don't know, but I'll tell you what, I have a lot of friends in New Orleans that are involved like me. And I've also stopped, and that stopped the conversation with Nancy. I also stopped in at 3 of those schools in New Orleans. And what I got firsthand information is they are definitely not models for the rest of the country. Then its 6th thing is open charter schools with no accountability and high profit potential. Mm-hmm. And see, this is what's always confused me about charter schools. If they're privately owned, why are we paying them?
Yeah, exactly.
That part I don't understand.
Is St. Thomas more subsidized by the school board money?
I don't know.
What's the difference between them and a charter school?
They charge enough to go to school there.
A private school that's not connected to a church and these charter schools. The parents have to pay to go, right?
Right, the parents pay for the kids to go to St. Thomas more.
Yeah.
So now that you know their plays, defend and fight back. People, we made some progress this year, but not where we need to be. And on Sunday, we're having a little outing out of our own pocket, not funded by anyone, where leaders across the state are getting together and having crawfish boil and a little meeting and relaxation for a lot of people that put a lot of hours in, and a little appreciation. Did we get rid of Common Core this year? No. And the caller that called in earlier was exactly correct. As long as we got the same entities, we're not going nowhere. But, and now my final thing on this for the evening is flip Bessie. Get control, get good people in the Bessie board. Be there tomorrow night at the Acadiana Patriots meeting and meet Mike.
Yep.
We like Mikey. Oh, I like Mikey. Can't say that.
Okay.
What's our,
Oh, there's something worse than that.
oh God.
You veterans out there
Oh, yeah.
and Second Amendment and your pension, it's all now tied together. You can own guns or you can continue getting your VA benefits, but you can't have both.
Wake up.
That's on the horizon. It's already started in Oregon. The article that came out that JPFO put out, well, they retransmitted an article from WorldNet Daily. They had the letter in there. You can expect to start seeing these letters telling the veterans they can't own any guns anymore and they have to get rid of the guns and ammo they have in their house, not just theirs. Nobody in the house can have guns and ammo because they are psychiatrically inept of some sort. Okay?
If they're taking psychiatric.
No, if now it's at that's if right now, but under the rules that were promulgated under the unconstitutional and all gun control measures passed by any state or federal or local government is unconstitutional. All right, read Article 2 of the Bill of Rights. It's no ifs, ands, or buts. It is there's no footnotes. There's no small print, etc. Okay. But you veterans that have had any psychiatric care are now subject to them blackmailing you, essentially, or extorting you out of your pension by telling you can either have your guns or you can have your pension. Now, my head is hurting about this because, wait a minute, I thought the purpose of that little part about psychiatric care was to keep crazy people from owning guns. Okay, it's a very basic, very broad, very vague statement. The way it's worded in the federale edict. And so what has happened? They've actually started going after veterans who suffered from PTS or some other mental disorder. Or mental problem, I should say. It's not we shouldn't call that a disorder. Or was under some kind of taking some kind of medication. Psychotropic
Prozac,
mental
Zoloft,
medication.
whatever.
Okay. Oregon, so far, that we know of. If anybody's heard anything differently, let us know just for the record. But if you're a nutcase and under the federal law you're not going to be allowed to own firearms, well then, if you give up your government, your VA pension, your veterans pension, that means your medical care and your stipend that you're receiving monthly, the money you're receiving apparently.
Gone.
Well, wait a second. But it's okay to own guns then after that. So.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Just a left hand, just a right hand.
Well, the left hand's crazy, but the left hand will ignore it if you don't take any more government pension.
If I take the crazy out of the left hand.
You can't,
No pension.
No pension, so then that takes the crazy.
But I can still be crazy.
Yeah, you can still be crazy and own guns that way.
And then I can own guns.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to be sure you understood. This is bizarre, folks. It is, and of course it is unconstitutional.
Totally.
It is patently immoral. The government owes you your pension. It owes you your benefits. That was the terms of service under which you went into the service. So, excuse me, but should you do something about that?
I got a feeling that Washington D.C. will not be a place to visit soon.
Well, you need to watch that because it's going to come to a head. Once this thing gets around and people start realizing the ramifications of it,
Well,
some people already have. They've already told some people that they had to get rid of their guns. And also be aware, it's not just veterans, people. Under these rules, anybody who is in a household taking one of these psychotropic drugs, they could do the same thing to you also. Okay? And it's anybody in the household, not the main breadwinner, and it's not like a convicted murderer in the house. The convicted murderer can't own guns, but somebody else in the house can. Not with this
Go ahead, caller.
rule.
Okay, psychotropic drugs. Fluoridated water would qualify, wouldn't it?
Well, in our way of thinking, it does, because fluoride is a mind killer. It bends the brain. It definitely affects the brain. And
Well, it's like Prozac. You know, that's what Hitler used, right?
no, he may have used something that became Prozac, but it wasn't Prozac back then. I don't know what they
It was
called it.
fluoride.
It was what?
It was fluoride. That's, from my understanding, Hitler's chemist invented fluoride.
Well, he may have. And Hitler may have been getting massive doses of fluoride, but he was getting more than one thing. I know that there was some other stuff I've heard what he was getting before. And,
It's not what he was getting, it was what he was giving to his people.
well, that too. And of course, the federal government fluoridates all of its facilities and bases, etc. And of course, that includes Washington, D.C. So everybody that's in Washington, D.C. for an extended period of time is suffering from fluoride poisoning. That explains some of the problems coming out of Washington, doesn't it?
That could be Bustani.
That's a lot.
Especially.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, well,
Thanks.
I'm gonna proceed with the fluoride and Washington D.C. while you mentioned that. You see, fluoride has an affinity for lead. And the old pipes, the old plumbing in Washington D.C. is heavily leaded. The pipe joints are leaded or soldered together. So what happens with the fluoridated water that the federal government is flowing through these pipes is that fluoride sucks the lead out of the solder, and at one time a few years back, a study done on school children around the country found that the school children in Washington D.C. had the highest percentage of lead poisoning in their system of any system in the country, any city in the country, major city. So you extrapolate that out to the people that work in Washington, D.C., and members of Congress, et cetera. Oh, well, we drink bottled water. We don't drink city water. Excuse me, you bathe in it, and fluoride is absorbed in the shower or in the bathtub.
But I thought they did away with fluoride here.
Yeah, we didn't know. We didn't have it. We never got it. We stopped them twice. Once several years back.
It was a big battle when I came
Yeah, it was a big battle several years back. About 20 years ago, it was a big battle.
Yeah.
And my father was involved in that. And then this last battle, what, 10 years ago now? When did we fight fluoride successfully? Keep it out of the... When the legislature passed a requirement that Lafayette get, and all the cities in Louisiana over a certain size had to get fluoride in their water system.
What was their purpose behind that?
Well, again, they've been sold this lie that it's good for the teeth. Okay? It's a lie, by the way. When you get too much fluoride, and there's other problems with fluoride that besides the benefit, it's far worse than the benefits. Anybody, I've known people that were on military bases, and military families have a bad problem with fluorosis. Too much fluoride does things to the teeth. So.
Okay, let me let you go.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
But now we know some of the problem that Washington, D.C. is having, they can't help. It's mental. So they can't have guns either. We can't let congressmen have guns. Yes.
Fluoride has some benefit when it's used topically on teeth. But that's why on toothpaste tube it says, do not swallow.
Yeah.
You spit it out after you've treated the teeth. But putting it in the water, you're ingesting it, you're soaking in it, you're being medicated against your will.
Yeah.
Wow.
And take a look at your toothpaste. If you've got any fluoridated toothpaste, folks, look at the poison control warning on the back of the tube.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Why is there a poison control warning on the tube of toothpaste? Wait, I put that in my mouth and then it's poisonous? What? Yeah, people.
Makes my teeth look good.
Yeah, but like Tom said, it's topical. Okay, it's on the surface. It's not to be ingested. Well, you're going to get some anyway. It doesn't matter how much of it you spit out. You're still going to absorb it through the gums. Why do you think that nitroglycerin tablets are put under the tongue? Because that's the best place for it to be absorbed quickly. Do what?
The fastest.
It's the fastest.
Yeah.
And so you're putting this fluoridated toothpaste in your mouth. Oh, I'm going to keep it out from under my tongue while I'm brushing my teeth? Yeah, okay. Believe that. So, anyway, lay off the fluoride, people, in anything. Don't let your dentist give it to your children. And that mouth rinse they give you that's got fluoride in it, where's that going? Under the tongue, getting absorbed. By some estimates, half of the fluoride that you ever ingested stays in your system, unless you do some extraordinary chelation therapy, possibly. Anyway, on that same general topic, before we get to USA Freedom Act, what kind of time we got?
You got 14.
Okay.
I gave you the wrong time last
Do what?
time. I gave you the wrong time last time.
Now we got 14.
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't wear his eyeglasses.
15% of Americans are taking statin drugs. 15%
I know.
of 350 million people. So guess how many people that is, folks?
Didn't they try to give you
15%. Do what?
Didn't they try to give you wax?
No, that's not the same thing.
Oh.
15%. Statins are the thing for high blood pressure. Look up statins. Do some research on statins, folks. Go to alternatives. Remember what we told you was going to happen when it hits the fan, when they really try and lock us down. We've been told by people on the inside that the first thing they're going to use, the major thing they're going to use is medical. They're going to use medical things to control you. Medical things like your prescription. Oh, I'm going to have a heart attack if I don't get my statin drugs.
What they want.
Yep. I mean, let's face it. If you're taking these statin drugs, you can't take something as natural as grapefruit. You can't eat grapefruit. Exactly. And one of the best things for you of a natural nature is grapefruit seed extract for a whole lot of things. It's good for a whole lot of things. It replaces a whole lot of antibiotics. And if you're taking statins, you can't take grapefruit seed extract.
Exactly.
I have knocked out nasty diseases this past winter, at least 3 times, within a matter of days. As short as a few hours, as long as 2 days, taking, among other things, grapefruit seed extract. Now, I was going to get some pretty nasty ones. I still had the cough lingering, but it was flu-like stuff was starting at least twice. The third thing may have been a cold, and etc. But folks, they don't want you doing that. I don't go to doctors. Okay?
I want to tell you, with the statins, CoQ10 is a combatant to the statins to replace what the statins take out. CoQ10.
Yep. Do some research, people. With 15% of Americans on statins alone, that's not counting all the other crap they got you prescribed taking. All of the psychotropic Prozac and Ritalin and all that other stuff. How many people in this country are addicted to prescription medications? How many people in this country are addicted to illegal, so-called illegal drugs of various kinds. And then there's all this new crap that I can't remember the name of it. We just got a big article on that. It was in the paper. And a friend of ours who's now no longer with probation, the juvenile probation department here, one of the last cases that he saw was a little girl about 15 years old that they had to restrain her overnight because they had no place they could take her to. They had to literally tie her down. She was on one of these new designer drugs that these children are taking. It costs them less than $5 a hit. It's one of the cheapest for them to take. And they're readily available. They're available here, people. Don't kid yourself. And the children are on those. Lots of children. I'll be willing to bet you, if you've got teenage children, you're watching this show, at least one of them has been taking some of these drugs. These are so-called bath salts, etc. Very easy to get.
Very dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous. This gal was so wigged out, it took 2 adults to hold her down and tie her down to a chair. And then they had to go on 4-hour shifts to watch her overnight. The state had no place to put her overnight. Everything was closed up, so they couldn't put her in one of the regular establishments. But that's the kind of stuff we're faced with. And of course, that's thanks to Mr. Jindal's cutbacks in various areas.
Well, now we have medical marijuana.
And, well, medical marijuana is going to be one of the more benign things. The rest of this stuff, geez.
Look at Colorado.
Well, Colorado's a different...
But that's all I'm saying. One thing leads to another.
All of this other stuff is
But
running
this bath
rampant.
salt stuff?
These bath salts are bizarre. And they're coming out of China, folks. The Chinese are bringing them in.
Gee, I wonder why China's
And they're
doing
changing them as they go. As the establishment, as the government authorities get ways to test for one of them, they'll change the formula up a little bit so it's no longer shows up in the tests.
And it's no longer illegal.
Right. This thing is a serious problem, and it's only going to get worse. And you've got various things egging on this. It's a bizarre situation this country's under. But then again, y'all don't care because you didn't want Jehovah in your life. You took Jesus out of your school. You took him out of government. You you tolerated, if not actually adopting, these so-called alternative lifestyles that are satanic and anti-Christian. So you have become an antichrist. Look in the mirror, people. When you turn from our Heavenly Father, He turns His back on you. He will return, He will welcome you back with open arms. He's very forgiving, but at the same time, He's very just. USA Freedom Act. You want to read it? You want me to?
Yeah, I can read it. Frequently asked questions about the USA Freedom Act.
And this is funny, but it helps explain that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, do you know what it used to be? This used to be the Patriot Act. We now renamed it as we rename everything to cover crap up. What's the darn deal with the USA Freedom Act? It is sort of a Patriot Act light. They removed the razor coil that was strangling the Fourth Amendment and replaced it with barbed wire. Why was Congress in such a hurry to pass it? Several surveillance provisions of the Patriot Act were about to expire. The desperation was so acute they held a session on Sunday. Amazing. Did they get paid overtime?
Probably.
Does the USA Freedom Act end bulk collection or not?
That's bulk collection of data about you
Yeah.
and your emails and
Here's the
everything else.
answer. Yes and no. Why is it called the USA Freedom Act? That is a good question. Apparently, the mom and apple pie and cute little kittens chasing yarn through the legs of Toddlers Act was already taken.
I think I saw that one. I think
Yeah, I think I did too. What remains the same? Pretty much everything. The NSA is still able to collect data and conduct surveillance on all the numbers and people that contact anybody on their list of suspected bad guys. That includes all veterans, by the way. And collect data on the numbers that contact those numbers. It's get confusing. And the numbers contacting those numbers and etc. Sort of like a super secret 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Exactly. By now, Kevin Bacon has definitely been placed on a do not act list. Question. That guy always has a sneaky look. Never trusted him. Answer. Not since before Animal House. Anything else the same? The bill reinstates the roving wiretap provision, which allows the CIA to monitor sneaky guys who cleverly throw away cell phones, and the lone wolf provision, which reputedly has never been used. Question. Yeah, right. And hippopotamus teeth make dandy soup tureens. What's different? Answer. Records will be kept by the communications industry instead of the government. And businesses have a little more leeway to report information requests, and since they could be prosecuted for acknowledging requests before, that part is a big deal. Question. How much more leeway? There's the rub. On a 1 to 100 scale, probably 1. Question. So not much change at all, eh? Yeah, it's baby steps. A Band-Aid on a sucking chest wound. Question. Winners and losers. Rand Paul and Barack Obama are winners. Senator Paul for calling attention to his stubborn libertarianism, and the president for getting anything passed. And Mitch McConnell is the big loser. Why? Because he invested so much political capital in renewing the Patriot Act intact and lost through a series of procedural moves which he, as the majority leader, should have anticipated. Answer, no, he's just a big loser. I like that one. Question, who ends up the bigger threat to the loss of our personal privacy and freedom? The CIA, NSA, or FBI? Answer, Facebook.
Yep.
Question, so what we really need is for Julian Assange to go after Mark Zuckerberg. Answer, you said it, not me. It's kind of a satire.
Yeah, that's from Will Durst. He's pretty witty at times. This is one of his better efforts.
But I read this and I thought, how most people are going to read this and,
over their heads for the most part.
What they don't realize is not a dang thing changed, and actually some things got worse.
Yeah.
With the Freedom Act. It's not a Freedom Act, people. They really overused that word.
Anti-Freedom Act.
Yeah, Anti-Freedom Act.
Unfreedom Act. Unfreedom. Yeah, that's it. Let's start our own word. Unfreedom.
Unfreedom
Somebody
Act.
check and see if unfreedom is in the.
Well, there's undocumented. Hey, there's undocumented.
Yeah, this is unfreedom, right? Couple of. Let's see what's going to be more impotent here, real quick.
Yeah, we only got a minute.
Well, the Pope is taking up global warming.
Oh,
if you hadn't heard that, there's a good article in last Saturday's Advocate about it.
That's our biggest enemy, by the way.
Pope expected to take on global warming.
Not the Pope, but
The global warming, right, I know.
And it's not global warming, it's climate change.
Climate change, yeah, but he talks about global warming here in the article. Let's wait and see what he has to say about it. It's probably not going to be good, but like the article points out, though, this is not a point of religion. This is a secular matter. So you folks that are Roman Catholics don't have to abide by what he says on this matter specifically. And just be aware that he's not done yet on that subject. And of course, he's found a fellow traveler with Obama and Al Gore and those other clowns. So you know what, you know, you can tell the measure of a man by his friends and his enemies. Okay, we're out of time.
All right, people, tomorrow night, Robichaux Center, be there, 6 o'clock.
What?
Why are you going like this?
We got 10 seconds.
10
now
seconds?
We got,
now we got 10.
now we got, now it's, no, it's only 7.
7?
We're not going to count it down. All right.